All right. In about 24 hours, all of our playoff best ball contests will lock, which means there's still time to get in a few more entries. We're going to discuss final thoughts here, how we want to attack these playoff best ball drafts, and then we will hop in them. It was just a year ago at this time that we were tilting naked Brock Purdy snipes. Can't wait to do it all over again here today on the BadgeBros channel. I'm Pete Overzet. Let's roll. All right, guys, we're back. John got hydrated, got the dog fed. Nez and I were talking some, bankroll allocation strategy for the rest of the weekend, and now we're ready here. Where are you guys at as far as how much more action you want to get down in the playoff best ball streets here before it locks?
I'm trying to do as many Gauntlet 2s as I can.
Yeah.
So if I max, I max. I don't plan on maxing. That is a lot, but as many as I can.
I'm a bad show co-host here. I haven't done nearly as much. I've traditionally done less and less of the playoff stuff because in season, I mean, even with baseball and stuff like that, like I would be playing the daily stuff, and I just, man, after I'm done drafting like the daily stuff or doing that kind of like day to day, I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna shelf the phone a little bit here. So I mean, I'm only gonna get like 20-ish total across whatever. So I'm a bad beacon for the playoff stuff. Happy to talk about it, but I will probably only end up with like 25 in the streets.
This is what happens to me. I don't know if this is for you, Nez, but it's like I've had a few moments where I'm like, I'm good. I've packed my bags. I've done enough of these. We'll get in the BR streets. And then I'll read an article or, I listened to Sacrilegious last night or I see Sean Siegel write up some of his thoughts. And I'm like, all right, that's a new angle I'd like to try out. Let me hop in there. And then next thing you know, you're chasing that angle 10 drafts later. You're like, oh, now I'm good. I don't know. I get easily influenced when someone has like an idea where I'm like, all right, I want to go in and try to execute that.
100%. I mean, we've got the ship chasing channel. We've got in Discord, we've got just your show with Sacrilegious last night. I've got like Dallas Dave and Chris G in a group chat. So many people in my ear throwing like new ideas at me that I'm just like you where like, okay, I'm good. And then, all right, maybe I'll just hop into like 2 more here and try a few different things. I think what makes playoff best ball like so addicting is like one, the landscape changes literally every time you enter a draft. I mean, like ADP changes, as daily, and as a couple of days we see some major shifts, but every draft that you enter is just so uniquely different that it doesn't get boring. It can get tilting, but for me, it doesn't get boring because like every draft is generally different unless I am doing a emergency Brown stack, which I do find myself emergency stacking the Browns way too much.
Do you guys think the traditional rhetoric has always been that like the playoff contest is the biggest edge for like those willing to put in the effort and the volume? Do you think that still, holds true this year?
I do, in that I really think, we talk about how now for season long best ball that, structure is just table stakes. And like most people aren't making just egregious structural mistakes. Like they might allocate their capital wrong. Like they might still take like 3 QBs and like 2 of them are way too early, but they're not often taking a 4th QB. Like you're not making huge structural mistakes. Whereas I think people still repeatedly make big structural mistakes. Like it's crazy, all due respect to your guys' badges. But I mean, like you'll see badge guys just loading up on multiple players from the same game. And not that I think that's necessarily bad for like an advanced strategy. If that's your thing, I think you're misplaying the contest if that's what you're playing for. But like the actual amount of people who are building lineups for first has to be smaller than in any other contest we play on Underdog.
That's the thing, right? Like getting the edge is so strong for sure.
Okay.
Like you're not guaranteed to profit in these. Like, let's like be very clear. You still have to get to the finals, but if you are building solid teams, like there's so many people, even in high stakes, that just are not playing these contests correctly. It's like, it's pretty baffling.
So this year, have we all kind of like gravitated towards, like, take the playoff bracket aside for 1 second, we've all gravitated to like this collective rhetoric that the correct way, in quotations, to build is like 1-3-5, or sorry, 2-3-5 if you have a bye week quarterback, and if you don't have a bye week quarterback, 1-3-6. That's kind of like what you guys have been doing.
Yeah, I think that's a very good, just like guardrails. Obviously, there's exceptions. Like, one thing that happens to me a lot, if you're kind of getting boxed out with Lions stuff and you're shaky on Laporta, all of a sudden having both Gibbs and Montgomery starts to look really good. And then the next thing you know, you're kind of funneled to a 4 running back build just by necessity of kind of like the players you actually like on teams. But I think that's a pretty good rule of thumb in general if people just wanted like general guidelines.
Yeah, I definitely think single QB and then no more than 4 running backs. I do think that you can do 4. He does not like 4 running backs, but no, definitely good guardrails with the 1-3-6. Pete, how much of your portfolio is comprised of Ravens Niners? If you had to guess.
It's a lot on the Niners, and I think I balanced out a lot more in this last leg of drafting in the past week or so, in that I'm doing way more Cowboys, way more Chiefs, stuff like that, where early on, like when we didn't have a certainty about the playoff picture, like I was just hammering Niners. And so my portfolio is still very much tilted. I think like 4 of my top 6 exposures are all Niners. And so I don't know, that could be good, could be awful. I'll probably have a pretty low advance rate out of round 1 just because of that. But that's kind of where I landed. How about you?
A lot of Niners. And I don't like getting the Niners because I think the NFC is so much more fun, so much easier to build out on that side if you like are doing the Ravens instead of the Niners. And then if you miss out on Niners, then you can build out, take your pick. I think all the NFC teams have like decent cases. Whereas when I'm building out Niners, I'll try to, with the Ravens stuff, I do Niners. Like I'm not shying away from Niners, and I'll obviously try to stack it appropriately. The piece that I'm like, the thing that I'm trying to solve is like with the Niners Ravens Super Bowl, what are some different ways that you can get in a decent cash line if that's the Super Bowl and you make it there? And there's a lot of different like scenarios that I'm thinking through. And I know it's survivor's bias, but I think that 4 players from a Niners Ravens Super Bowl is still in play if you happen to get a good enough 4 in that Super Bowl. Because that's what won last year, but last year was way different context. We had 1 out of 6 advance in round 1. This is 2 out of 6 advance in round 1, which obviously makes 5 pieces in a Niners Ravens Super Bowl much more viable. But personally, I'm still building out some 4-player starting lineups for a Ravens Niners Super Bowl, thinking that I can still, if that happens and I happen to get there, I'm not going to turn my face away at 10 grand, 20 grand if that happens. I don't know.
I think you're low-key dead. Like, I think if you play for
not
the
dead.
chalk,
100% not dead.
If you play for the chalk final and you only have 4 pieces, like, isn't everyone playing for the chalk final? Like, in general?
So what I would make, I think I'm probably somewhere in between you guys on this, in that I agree with Nez that just there aren't that many people who are even building 5 Ravens, and then the amount of teams that advance even just out of round 1. But the one tweak I would make, I think, to John's point, if I was doing just 4, would be I would want to make sure that 4th piece is not getting drafted in 100%. Like if you're doing the Ravens thing, you just tack on Odell. Well, now you are showing up to the finals with almost for sure just completely blocked. But if you're grabbing Mark Andrews or Nelson Aguilar, and then you're getting that piece at very low ownership in the final, then I think you have more of that chance, would be kind of how I would think it through.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Like, because I think if you get 4 through, you'd want a contrarian final, not a chalk final. So, like, if you played to get 4 through and you rode like some of these stronger pieces from like the front end, like you rode Dallas or you rode whatever, but then we end up with like a Texans Super Bowl or something like that, then you could be live with only 4 in the final.
I'm strictly talking Niners Ravens.
Oh,
with
just
4.
like
That's the
okay.
only
just with the bye. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the only time I would
Just-
do that.
Okay.
Because
Yes.
it's going to be hard to do, and I still don't think people are building it optimally, and I don't think enough people are building for that period. So being able to do that, I would never do that any other team. No,
Okay.
like no shot. So different ways to build out those four in that Super Bowl matchup. Speaking of that, Pete, how do you think? So starting out CMC 101, especially in the Gauntlet 2, maybe less so in the Gauntlet 2, but if you have, should you just never try to build CMC Ravens if you can't get one of those quarterbacks? Or do you think that you can go in there and CMC has an absolutely crazy game and you come in there with 4 other flex pieces that you can actually compete with CMC in a Niners Ravens Super Bowl? Or is that just not even worth trying?
It's tough. I think last year I would have just like abandoned ship. And this year, because I've been thinking through the lens of conference championship way more than Super Bowl, I think it's something I would explore more, that I still want to make sure I'm building out, 4 teams, 2 from each conference. And I'm okay, because sometimes that it just breaks that way too. Right. And still really liking the Niners and the Ravens' chances to advance. But there's lots of scenarios where they both make it to the conference championship game, and then one of them doesn't get there, and you still needed those pieces to advance from the divisional to conference or whatever. So like I'm not kind of blocking myself out if just because I don't get Lamar or Purdy on that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's certainly less attractive. Like it doesn't feel as fun, but I don't think you should just completely write it off.
Is anyone doing insane shit like we see in baseball where it's like, we look at the World Series from last year, right? And Arizona makes it all the way through. Is anyone out here in these streets, like if I only had 5 bullets, like hypothetically, like is there any merit to just being like, yo, I'm just going to take 5 Texans off the jump and then just build out like Packers, Lions, Rams?
I think there's merit to it for sure.
Yeah.
But nobody's doing that.
Yeah, no one's doing it. Like that's how I would do it if I had like 10 bullets or I had 5 bullets and you just want to exclusively play for first. I would just fade the shit out of all the good players that everyone's drafting and just hope one of these teams get hot, right? Like cuz everyone like acts so definitive, like these matchups are, like Ravens and Niners with a bye is still like only 18% likely to happen in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like people
one thing
think about
to
that.
your point, John, it like the Ravens are actually really unique because it's not that hard to build out the nut Ravens team.
That's fair.
And so, but then to extend it to your idea, what if you get your 5 Ravens and you're playing that, or say 4, and then you just take all Bucks and Packers, and you're going to advance because you're going to have like 5 to 6 of those guys. And if they pull off the shocker and you get that team who just surprises out of nowhere, and then you literally are the only one who shows up to the finals, people just aren't doing it because of the projected odds and whatnot. I think I would be a little more spooked to like double down on it on both sides. That's why I kind of like the angle of you play the Ravens and then play the NFC as wide open.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. I was doing sort of what you were saying, John, with so in the mittens, I was doing some experiments and like trying to find a way to like jam it, because the volume is hard because these drafts require attention and you need to, make sure that you're correlating. But with the way certain prices were setting up, I was autoing like the Browns before the Browns like caught a lot of steam, where I was like having like my favorite like NFC pieces. And then it was, Cooper, Njoku, Ford, Flacco. And then like whoever I got with them. And just to know somewhere in my exposures in these mittens, like I have a bunch of Browns, and I did that with the Bills before the Bills got on too. So that was in that sort of like drafting ways people aren't, while still playing for, still doing it structurally sound. There's still ways that you can do that, but I do think that maybe we get too tethered to ADP.
Mm-hmm. Like what's the biggest difference between Gauntlet 1 and 2 now when we know the bracket structurally? What's the biggest difference for you guys between those 2 contests?
One of them has a bunch of my dead Jags teams in them and the other doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, didn't we just low-key replace the Jags with 2 more fun teams in Browns and Texans.
Oh, I thought you
And
were going to say Steelers.
The Steelers are who they replaced. Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Because nobody was really taking Texans in Gauntlet 1 until it was solidified, were they?
As soon as they solidified, Nico like shot up.
Right.
Nico thought he went from like 59 to like 40s and 30s frequently. People were stoked to draft Nico.
If you could like hand pick like your optimal roster right now from Gauntlet 1, what would it be?
Sorry, say that question
like
again?
That you had drafted in the past. Like if we got a time machine now, we get this bracket. Like what's the best closing line value? It's Bills late. It's
Browns
late. What is
Browns has probably made the biggest rise of anyone.
I actually would say Rams have made a bigger rise
too.
Chris G showed me some annoying ass teams he has where his last 3 picks are like Kyron, Puka, and Cup. I mean, those guys are now 4th and 5th. Lamar and CMC teams exist in the Gauntlet 1.
Yeah. So would that be like your most nutted combo to pick right now?
Yeah, if you could go back to that time and build out that team and then build it with Rams and Bills, you're cooking. You're cooking right now.
What's the
from
EV
Gauntlet 1 to Gauntlet?
Sorry,
that's what's so sick about actually pricing that with like the pod dynamics and all of that, where you're basically thinking about where it's nutted is on the 2 bookends, right? It's like nutted for round 1 because you got the super good advance rate guys. It's nutted for the Super Bowl because you got that sick combo, and yet you still have to play the divisional and conference championship weekends and deal with pod luck.
Mm-hmm. Like, what's that team worth? Like, is it worth $70? Is it worth $50? Is it worth 200? Like,
I was going to say like 150 or something, probably.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think that's like the biggest difference between the playoff one and BBM, for instance, is like, even if you got like sick closing line value in like BBM, I don't think your roster is ever worth more than like $35, $40, something like that. But I think in the playoff one, you can get like these extreme outliers where like you could sell that roster right now to me for like 200 or whatever. I don't know. I was just curious.
Another big difference in Gauntlet 2 right now, oddly. So here, when Gauntlet 1 was ending, Niners were super expensive. Now in Gauntlet 2, for whatever reason, like Purdy will fall to the 101 now. That like never happened in Gauntlet 1 toward the end. Now it happens like half the time.
To me, it makes sense. I mean, I don't think that should be happening, but I think you had all the sickos drafting initial Gauntlet.
Yep.
They're fine, eating up those bye week players. And now it's like, look at the Josh Allen's team. Look at the people taking CeeDee Lamb 101. Like, people do not want to deal with bye weeks. Like, they get spooked about their advance rate. Like, even experienced players are like, I don't want to build out an entire portfolio that, has like each team has a 10% chance of advancing out of round 1.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. So that's it. That's interesting too. It's something to keep in mind that like, I brought up like the CMC hypothetical, and I do think that you do have to be mindful that like there's going to be CMC Purdy teams that can tack on like Odell Beckham and Justice Hill. And now they are, they're live for that Super Bowl. That to me is kind of like the biggest, that's like the biggest puzzle is if you're not building for Ravens and Niners, that's kind of like square one is like, what do you do with that? And then if you're not doing that, then you kind of have the field, but building out, I don't know if you feel the same, Pete. I kind of mentioned that I like building out Ravens versus NFC much more than I like building out Niners versus AFC. This AFC bracket sucks.
Yeah. And it really does. And then the thing that's also like, if you don't have Ravens, then, Browns and Texans become what's kind of most fun, at least for me, to play through the AFC. I don't know if I'm just bored of taking Dolphins and Chiefs, or it just doesn't feel good anymore, but
I don't think the Dolphins are actually live to make the Super Bowl. I think that's what it comes down to for me is I don't like their game environment. And I actually don't think that they can make a Super Bowl run. Like
they're so hurt, man. Like they just lost everyone on defense. Like, they've lost both middle linebackers. They've lost all their edge rushers. Like they're bringing Bruce Irvin off the street.
Like, this is the time to do it for sure. This is the cheapest that Dolphins like have ever been in the playoff contests. But I don't know. I do draft Dolphins. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't just like not draft them, but that's partly why I don't love it.
They're a tricky team. Although they do work well as an advance rate piece, like with Niners stuff, because they're so concentrated, and you're not even like tempted. There's not like a Jameson Williams where you're like, I feel good about. You just take like Achane and Tyreek, or like whatever running back, wide receiver. You take like two of them, and you're like, hopefully that they have that crazy game and help this team advance, and then I don't need anything else from them.
What is the like spiciest, I guess, like takes that you guys have baked in to your roster construction stuff? Like, or is anyone overweight Green Bay? Anyone overweight Steelers? Anyone being is anyone overweight
Steelers.
like one of these like
I was
super
gonna ask,
contrarian spots?
I think I had one team where I got mega boxed out and I needed an advance rate piece and I took George Pickens. I think I did it once.
That's hilarious. I think I did 2 or 3 Steelers teams, and I think they were like mitten 4 too. Like, it wasn't even like for like the big one. No, I don't have any Steelers, but I have a lot of Packers, and I have a lot of Packers in like high stakes stuff too. Just because I do think that they're more live than people think to upset. And like we had mentioned, like this is a pretty good game environment for them. I think so. Help me to advance in the high stakes stuff. That is the craziest, I guess. Cause like, I also have any Bucks Super Bowl teams. I have Bucks to advance me, but I don't have any, like, I'm not playing Bucks to Super Bowl in any of my teams. And I've done a lot.
Are the Eagles the new Bills?
I don't know if you guys, I'm sorry. What'd you say? I cut out.
Oh, like associated with your Bucks take there. I was like, are the Eagles the new Bills now in these drafts?
What do you mean by that? Like, what's the comparison?
Well, like in Gauntlet 1, Bills were, super underpriced and available at the back end. In Gauntlet 2, Eagles are sliding like crazy because of health uncertainty, blah, 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 blah. Like, Eagles could break like super nice if the Packers somehow upset. They're not as hurt as we think they are, and they don't have to play San Francisco until the conference final.
Yeah, I guess the difference is, even though the Bills were cheap, like they were rounding into form, right? They were starting to win games. They were looking good, where everything with this Eagles, I mean, it's not even just talking about vibes and whatever. Like, they're banged up. You watch them lose to the Giants, lose to the Cardinals. I'm taking them because they're values. But I don't know if it definitely doesn't feel as good as like, I'm going to get ahead of the Bills running the table and making it into the playoffs.
Maybe we should be building some Baker doubles.
I've done it.
Oh, whoa. Okay. Some people are building out Bucks to Super Bowl, then, just not Nez.
So the reason why I think the Bucks and the Texans are like the best, break glass in case of emergency is because they're being treated similarly to like the Packers, as far as like their chance. Like, when you look at the ADPs for those guys, I mean, yeah, Mike Evans and, Nico go a little bit ahead of, say, Aaron Jones and Reed or whatever, but they're still basically free. Like, if you go into a draft and you're like, I want to build something out with 3 players from one of those teams, like, you can do it. And those games in my mind are coin flips. Bucks, Eagles, won't be shocked whoever wins. Texans, Browns, won't be shocked whoever wins. So it's like the fact that you can get really good fantasy skill position players for essentially free with those is very attractive.
They're so condensed too. Like both those teams, or all 3 of those teams.
If I'm doing Baker in my builds, it's because I am building out either Niners or Ravens.
For sure. That's the only time I've done it too.
But
yeah,
just as like my emergency QB.
This is I am getting more and more scared of this, that like Baker's legit hurt and they haven't scored an offensive touchdown in a minute.
I wouldn't use Carolina splits, honestly. Like, I'm worried about the injury stuff, but I mean, Carolina splits, go look at a bunch of good quarterbacks did jack shit against Carolina this year because everyone just runs all over them.
That's fair. Interesting.
Yeah.
He also, Mike Evans got narrowly missed for a bomb in that game. by the way, too, which is like the story of his monster season, and
Right.
it could have even been bigger.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say something like meta as far as like talking about playoff best ball goes. Like it's so tough because like the strategy in which you can't just like go in with the strategy really. Like everything changes like on the fly. Like what you're doing, what you're building, and maybe that's where people don't get the right idea when doing this stuff. They're just not comfortable building out teams they feel like don't have a chance to make the Super Bowl, when that is like that's the agreement that you're making with yourself. You should be making with yourself when entering these. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here because everyone watching this has been watching playoff basketball for a while. But when you go into these things, like it's just you don't know what you're coming out with on the other side. And I just think you just really need to be willing to get kind of strange. Probably a little obvious, but.
No. What are some ways that you feel comfortable getting strange that are like contrarian ways to play chalk then? Like, is anybody doing like Mostert and Achan and then shutting it down on Miami? Or is anyone
sure.
doing like, okay.
Yeah, because that it kind of goes back to like the Montgomery Gibbs thing, where if someone has Tyreek and then who knows, maybe they grab Waddle or whatever, and you're like, there's no other Dolphins to take, so I'll just take the two who I know are actually going to be on the field. Honestly, like to me, I think the biggest edge, and it kind of dovetails with the Texans and the Tampa take, is there's essentially this dead zone of ADP from like rounds 4 through 6, where a lot of times you get there, and if you allow yourself to be anchored to ADP, you're going to take a secondary Lions piece, you're going to take a secondary Cowboys piece, or whatever, instead of just being willing to say, you know what, screw it. I'm starting my Nico build. I'm starting my Evans build. I'm starting my Packers thing, whatever it is, just early in building it out. And so I think that's where there's going to be a big edge, where you're going to see lots of one-off Nico teams, lots of one-off Evans teams who even maybe get better ADP value than you, but they're not going to have them with Rachaad White, not going to have them with Schultz. And I think just committing to the bet you already made slightly earlier than everyone else is a pretty big edge.
What about
like doubling down on those and trying to take them into the next round? Go ahead, John.
I was gonna say from like a correlation standpoint, like I guess the meta is kind of like 4-2-2-2 in terms of like team stacks and that sort of thing, right? So if you build out like an AFC 4 and then you build out 3 NFC 2s or something like that, is anyone building like 5 from an AFC team or NFC team that's a non-bye, or maybe 4, and then going like 1-1-1-1-1-1-1 and giving themselves an out to like, hey, I'm only playing a Super Bowl for one team, but I can fill a roster with 5 slots because I have one of all these NFC pieces.
I definitely
I'm not doing it anymore this year. I did that kind of shit a lot last year, and kind of listening and learning from Sacrilegious a lot has really, because the big shift for me in that strategy is when you think through it exclusively through the lens of the Super Bowl, that makes a ton of sense. But when you think through it through the lens of the conference championship, you start to see how it falls apart and how you need that foresight to be just utterly dominant for 4 straight weeks, like dropping 35 plus to make that work. Because otherwise you're not going to have enough ammo on the other side with theoretically just 2 pieces from an NFC or whatever the Oppo conference is in the conference championship game.
Is there a team that can do that?
The Bills, maybe. But then you start introducing weather concerns.
That's what I'm saying. That was going to be my question, is like, given what we know about this Bills weather right now, is it just way too thin to go 2 QB with Josh Allen?
Dude, Nez, I had that exact same thought this morning. I was went out for a run and I was like, what if like the Bills make their Super Bowl run, but they literally play like a 13-10 game and like all the Allen stuff just gets nuked. And that Allen is the quarterback who doesn't advance.
Right.
Seriously. Like it could be really, really popular because out of all the quarterbacks being taken just once and nobody else, like Allen has to lead that category. Has to.
The thing is like at that point, I think GTO is still just drafting it how you would, and you're basically now treating it where it's like, well, part of this was supposed to be I could have my cake and eat it too. It's an advance rate play, and on top of that, I'm getting the Super Bowl equity. And now it's like, well, it's not as so much an advance rate play. You're almost playing it like you just drafted a Niner or a Raven, and just hoping that the 15% of the time you get the Josh Allen team through, you built one where you're now no longer competing with hardly any of them.
Yeah, it's where I always end up, but like we'll see, man. By Saturday afternoon, I might have like 10 Josh Allen plus Jordan Love teams.
Huh. Would you run those naked Jordan Love and just use him as an advance rate piece then? Or would you skinny stack and be like, because I think if you're just using him, if you're painting that narrative that like Bills still win and Bills go through, just using him as a one-off might not be the worst idea, and then building different contrarian NFC ones.
I don't think it's like impossible to make work. Ideally, though, if I'm ever building 2 QB with Josh Allen, like I want that QB stacked.
To be stacked, yeah.
And it needs to be like a last round QB, right? Like you want it to be the Baker, the Stroud, the Love, someone where there's like zero opportunity cost. Like you don't want to be having to take even like, Jalen Hurts in round 5 to make that work, because like you're going to need the skill position player at that slot.
Exactly.
Yeah. Huh, very interesting. Should we hop in here?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Any preference?
Well, we have 2 options now. We're trying to funnel the Gauntlet 2. Let's do the Gauntlet 2.
Yeah.
Neumy is begging and pleading for us to do the Gauntlet 2. He's sweating this so bad.
Okay. I was about to just screw everyone there, and I remembered that we're streaming, so I shouldn't back out. But the advance rate for this structure is the exact same as Gauntlet 1, right?
Yeah.
2 of 6 to start.
Yep. 2 of 6. I think the final is bigger than Gauntlet 1.
I think Gauntlet 1 final is 400. This one's 250.
250.
It's the one of the advances is much smaller, right? Is it the conference championship one at 1 of 5?
1 of 5, yes.
Yeah.
So 2 of 6, 1 of 6, 1 of 5, and then 250 final.
Yeah.
And
so I mean, this
Gauntlet 1. Oh, good.
No, I was just going to say, like, the one thing that's always in the back of my head with the 250 person final is like, that's where I want, like, okay, if I'm doing Niner stuff, Jawan Jennings is getting drafted in every one of these, scroll down for Ronnie Bell, or Odell Beckham's getting drafted in every one of these, scroll down for Aguilar, Bateman, or Andrews. Like, I think you're going to want a unique piece in that 250 person final, unless you just have a mega unique construction like we were talking about, where you're like, I'm on Bucks, Browns, like then you probably don't have to worry about it.
Should we go CMC here?
Yeah.
Is there any merit to, like, last year? I remember we were gal-braining through like combos and stuff, and we would talk about, hey, like, nobody's going to tell you you're crazy if you take Jamar Chase over CeeDee Lamb because you think they're going to go, or vice versa. Or like, remember Justin Jefferson last year where he was like going at the front end above those other guys, and then he only puts up 8 points, and you can, if we just flip those ADPs, you get unique constructions. Is anyone doing that this year, or is it just way too, Niners heavy to ever consider flipping the board?
There's like 4 101 picks right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lamb, CMC, Lamar, and Josh Allen.
I agree with that, right? Because like the whole way you're winning this tournament is because these guys make it to the Super Bowl and put up 25 plus points. So you can make the case for any of them. And the bye week guys have the easier chance to get there, and the other guys have the better chance of getting your fantasy teams there. And it probably is all a wash, where I don't blink it when anyone takes one of those 4 101. My only thought would be, if you're just drafting a bunch of teams, to just draft them at ADP to like smooth it out. But I mean, yeah, if you have a very strong take and you want to be overweighted, like, I don't think it's bad at all.
I was thinking like Tyreek.
He's falling so much right now.
That's what I mean.
The thing. Yeah.
So that's what, like, you would introduce a construction that's completely different to anybody else.
But he wasn't falling, I guess, in this when did this contest launch?
Like 3 days ago, 4 days ago.
So we're wiped out of Niners, right? And Ravens.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think the natural pivot now is KC. Most people do.
It's
Or
a
you-
pivot.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, I think KC would be like the clean thing. Or you could do. Yeah,
What else would you guys do?
I like doing Mahomes first.
Okay. And then Kelsey.
Or Pacheco.
I like Pacheco because we can just stack Mahomes with dust balls if we have to. Pacheco is like a really valuable piece, in my opinion, with the Mahomes stuff. And sometimes these pass catchers fall too, man. People are really scared of these frigid temperatures.
Okay.
And if you don't have the stack partner there, some people will just like forego it. And we have like Crutches in this room, who's building out Bills. Top Stat is a sharp guy. Sono, don't know what he's doing.
I'm waiting
But-
for you to call someone a donkey.
Wait, it's the guy with
Sticky
the
Kush.
it's the
Sticky
guy with
Kush is so stoned. He's so scared. He doesn't even know what to build right now.
the donkey's
No
got the purple avatar in the 101 here.
Yeah, I'm with Nez on that. Just structurally, and the way the depth on the Chiefs work, and it covers your CMC buy in such a clean way. The round 1 matchup lines up very well. And then on top of it, it dovetails to what we were saying, 250 person final. You can like mix and match so many late Chiefs pieces that are unique, like whatever your flavor is. So I think you can kind of accomplish a lot of things there.
I am gonna hand out some fucking GMs tonight in these lobbies.
What do you? I think what you think might be a playoff GM might not actually be a playoff GM.
Well, no, I'm gonna give them to somewhere else.
Oh,
Like I'm gonna,
give 'em.
yeah,
You're
I'm
gonna-
handing them out, man. I see this board right now, and I'm gonna start like Tyreek, Mostert, Achan, and then I'm gonna go like full
you-
Texans or full Rams, something like that. Like I'm gonna like.
Well, here's
Yeah,
the
I'm
thing,
start
John.
Rams.
You have to start Rams to do that. Those guys go
Okay.
ahead of.
All right,
No,
fine.
but to your point, John, like you could start alternating that early. You just still play it by ADP, but
think-
you can load up on
Right.
teams early.
Did
I
we
think
do
you take
Rams?
the L on McCaffrey.
Yeah, like we're not gonna get anything else.
You can
there.
still get 2 Chiefs at the end of this and make McCaffrey not an L, but in my opinion,
You
Rams
want
stick out.
Kyron first and shut it down at running back, or do we want Puka's going to be one of the picks, right?
Definitely Puka. If I'm doing
Yeah.
Ram stuff, like I want Kyron. But I don't know. I personally wouldn't have done this, but I understand why we're doing it just because it's kind of rare for these guys to be here.
Okay. Well, okay. Let's have 2 separate conversations. Let's say who are we going to take here? Is it Kyron or Cup?
I think Kyron.
Pete?
You can
I
go
think so,
Cup,
too.
but
Okay. All right. I mean, he might come back in this room. Who knows? Like,
Well,
if
here's the
everybody's staying
thing.
in their lane.
I don't, you know what? Let's wind it back. Let's say in the reality that we just drafted, the Packers are upsetting the Cowboys and we're good. That's the reality. If you play this bracket in that way, it's
Yeah.
completely fine.
so that
So-
leaves us open to a Packers advanced piece. But go ahead, John.
Okay, I'm thinking through range outcomes now. Like, what are we trying to accomplish now? Like, this is Chiefs Super Bowl still in our mind.
It has to be, unless we're grabbing Stafford, but grabbing us. If we're already playing Chiefs to the Super Bowl, then we should just be done at QB.
The only other thing that you could do, and this is not financial advice,
Oh,
is
it's about to become financial advice.
you could say, never mind. I was going to say Texans. You could do like, hey, let's get CMC to the Super Bowl with either Chiefs or Texans. And then you go like Nico, Stroud, and Schultz. And then like a third or
Okay, so
'cause
that one's off the
running back
table.
becomes-
That
It
one's
is.
off the table. We have 3 running backs in our first.
We're
5 picks.
done taking running backs.
yeah, we're
Yeah.
done. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is
But-
not going to be a 2 QB with staff, is it?
I wouldn't.
Okay.
but we can build out. There's lots of other AFC stuff we can do. Like we could, build with Baltimore if we'd want, because KC's going to be on the Buffalo side of the bracket. Because Nico is already taken. Like, I don't mind in this build taking Likely here and like going like Likely Odell, and playing that as our other AFC conference championship game against
And
the
we go
Chiefs.
2 QBs. Or no?
I don't think we go 2 QBs.
Okay, you just want them for like unique advancing pieces for the next 2 rounds.
For which ones?
For these Ravens.
Yeah, to me, we are now. I'm trying to build out
Hardman or Watson.
We'll get there.
Will they be there?
Okay. We're going to load up on those. Because so you think about how our starting lineup's going to be round 1. We're going to have Mahomes, Pacheco. We're going to have Kyron in the flex. We're going to have Puka. And then we need one more wide receiver for our starting lineup. But the optimal way to do that is probably to take 2 shots at Chiefs wide receivers and hope one of them hits our lineup for round 1.
Yeah, and then we kind of have this luxury pick, this one-off lovely pick that we can do whatever we want with.
Optimally, it's probably the Niner dust ball, but
yeah.
Oh man.
I honestly don't, you would not want to build the majority of your teams this way. But again, as long as you're being logically consistent with the bracket you've now played out with the rest of the team, it's fine.
Because
I think, go ahead, John.
Okay. Yeah. Well, okay. So Chiefs guaranteed can't meet Baltimore until the AFC Conference Championship, right? So we're playing Chiefs knock Bills, Chiefs then meet Ravens. Now we're thinking through Super Bowl. I mean, I think maybe we do need Stafford then to play the NFC side, no?
You don't, because if the Chiefs are knocking off the Dolphins, then knocking off the Bills, and then knocking off the Ravens, Patrick Mahomes is playing out of his goddamn mind.
That's fair. Okay.
And that you're thinking through, like, Stafford does go, and it's like, how many times in that scenario is Stafford outscoring Mahomes?
Right. Maybe in the first round, but
so I'm Richie James pilled as one of my guys. I don't know, Nez, if you have a Chiefs guy you like.
I like Richie James. Do you think he's going to actually play in the playoffs? I always thought he was one of their best receivers.
Yeah.
You guys like him more than McCole Hardman this week?
I think this is a team where we take both, but yeah.
Okay.
I think we take both, and then we have the conversation that Nez was bringing up where it's like, I think optimally you grab a Niner. That way you're live for both Chiefs, Rams, and Chiefs Niners Super Bowl.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, well, in theory, then we should probably grab the Niner first, but we'll tempt
but
fate.
it's
you're
fine.
still live for Chiefs Niners at the moment. You have 5 for Chiefs Niners currently.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you would like to have a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think we can play. Yeah. Take IU. Yeah, I think the question is, do we actually think one of Richie James or Hardman can help us advance? If we think that is naive,
I've been Hardman pilled, man. I think Hardman matters. I think nobody's caught the football.
What's this take?
Nobody's caught the football for Mahomes all damn year. Then they make the trade to bring him back in. Now everybody else is like hurt in front of him. He's kind of healthy again for the first time. Has a little bit of a showing last week. And then this week they just go like, yeah, remember all that shit we used to do with McCole Hardman? Let's just try it out.
The other thing you could do here, I think you could also do DeMarcus Robinson, honestly.
Yeah, I definitely think he's in play. I will say, if I was drafting by myself, this would probably be Chris Godwin. But I am much more of a coward
So
then
that opens us up
you
for
guys.
like, hey, how we advance is Godwin puts up a score we need, and it opens us up to a live Bucks KC final, but one of
Mhm.
those pieces will lose after week 1. That's the thought process, Nez.
Oh, Godwin does go.
I didn't think he was okay. Wow, Mostert going undrafted is insane.
So you could also do Watson here, although whatever. Watson, Demarcus Robinson. You could also do the Jaden Reed. If you Jaden Reed is like maybe the better version of the Godwin play in that we need the Packers to win to make this Rams Niners thing not as big of an issue.
Yeah, I'm good with either of these two.
I would do Reed.
Okay,
definitely helps with the advance.
Huh? Very interesting there.
That was a tough one, man. The 101 kind of is a shitty spot.
Well, when all the Niners run, like Zach talked about it last night on your guys' show, where he was in the $500, whatever it was called, Big Mitten, little whatever.
Big Mitten 2.
That Big Mitten 2, the $500 one. He's saying he was in a room with Pete, and he was like, "Oh, I'm looking at this board and the players behind me. I'm not going to be able to stack Niners." So, he would have ended up exactly the position we just were, and he forgoes it and takes CeeDee Lamb 101.
I do think, in hindsight, if we could have saw that, like, the badges that we had there and just know that Niners are not coming back, and if you want to use that to say, hey, let's not take CMC, then I think it's totally valid at the 101. Like, I won't blame anybody not taking CMC at 101, but I'm just seeing what happens.
Should we do one more?
That's what you would just – it's like I've done so many drafts, and I haven't seen those Rams – falling like that. Like they're normal. Like people are legit taking Kyron at the 2-3 turn.
Right.
And we just got him at the 4-5, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like, how do you plan for that?
I wish these Lions and Rams weren't facing each other because they're so easy they feel so good to build in these playoff contests. And I love both of them just as individual teams. It's a shame that one of them has to go. I've got a lot of both in my portfolio, so it's going to be a good and bad Sunday or whenever they play.
Yeah, no, that's the Nez hedge, so you can guarantee you're live the following week,
Oh, yeah.
Should we rip one more and then call it, gents?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mitten 4 is in. I like that they offered the Mitten 4 with 3 out of 6. I think that's a fun wrinkle. I've been firing off on that here and there, just seeing like how crazy I can get with Niners and Ravens. Oh, nice.
I had to.
Locks in less than 24 hours, man. Got to get it in.
Yeah, Neumy added that to the tile, hey? Did you see that at the front? They put locks tomorrow.
Got to get in these stream rooms when you can, man, because people actually play nice.
Yeah, it's kind of the inverse of the summer where like you actually want to be in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is. I even was nice enough to let you guys try something different on the stream last night, Pete, and I got absolutely ripped for it, dude. Oh my god. Absolutely no favors done in that
collusion, man. Collusion.
That was total peer pressure. That was total peer pressure.
I wouldn't have cared what you did. It was just funny.
All right, Nez, you're on my team, dude. We got.
I'm sticking you guys with a gross spot.
Oh my god! I knew that.
All right.
Okay.
Gone.
Do we take CMC?
Go Lamar. You're gonna have such a better time. I promise. You're gonna have such a better time.
All right, let's do it.
Look at John already handing out GMs to crutches.
Man. Crutches.
We both were so burned from the raw dog and CMC.
Dude, I'm not trying to build another naked CMC team, man.
How hilarious is it that, we collectively all, would talk ourselves out of taking CMC 101 this year because, positional scarcity and the piss boys and the wide receiver cliff. And now here we are in playoff basketball drafts, pass it on CMC again because we found our reasons. It's like, maybe we just take the best fucking player.
We never learned, man. We never learned.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. You draft these CMC teams so much and you see how they fall. It's like, in a Niners Super Bowl and you're building CMC, like these CMC teams are going to be really, really, I don't even know the right word, like strangely built. If Niners make the Super Bowl and you bring in CMC there, I don't know.
MMA guru.
Dude, that's what I was looking at
here.
Yeah, he just put you guys in a pickle. Whoa, Crutches goes the Mahomes route. So he doesn't even,
because he thinks we're not going to take it, but I'm taking.
Yeah, we're taking. Dude, we're building out double buy with Niners. No.
So am I, bud. No, I don't have that. I'm just kidding.
Guys, you want Amon Ra or what do you want?
If you want to build out Lions, yeah, we can, or we can go Flowers and then go to the Rams. However you want to do this, or we could do Redacted as well.
I'm not touching Redacted. Let's do Flowers. Oh, dude, I want to build like some growth shit, like some stuff that has a chance at winning.
We're still alive, man. Nothing's changed.
Man, now I have to start thinking out my quarterback strategy here.
Oh yeah, your boy Dak's gone. Now you have the same problem where you have to build out something nasty in the AFC where it's like Browns or Dolphins.
Ooh, 3-way start.
Yeah, he's bully in the first round. Pete's trying to.
Okay, so there goes our Rams out unless we want to take like. And we're just gonna try and push 3 buys through.
Don, we're gonna try to push 5 buys through.
Okay.
Go.
I thought you were gonna be pro 5 buys, John, and then Nez was gonna try to get you back to 4.
Now I'm definitely pro 5 buys. I just think the field is also thinking that way, and like. Some sharps in the field are going to try and do that sort of shit, whereas sharps in the field are not going to try and do like Texans, Packers, and Bucks. Like,
nah, man, people are like the field is not good at this tournament, and part of not being good at this tournament is playing scared and not doing enough Ravens and Niners because it's hard because they don't want to lose their $25.
I guess. Okay.
This Cowboys run out is crazy. You don't see too many rooms where CD, Dak, and Pollard and Cooks finally goes to the Dak guy are all on different teams.
Yeah. Wow. I'm telling you, man, people think that the Packers are going to roll, and maybe the offense does have a great game, but people think Cowboys are just going to stomp.
Before your Kittle pick, you guys could have been dialing up your Packers.
Yeah, now it's not. Mm-hmm. It feels really bad. It is obviously hard to get 5 Ravens Niners through. Of course, it's very hard.
That's the rub, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But the fact is, like, we're gonna get set up with like Gus Edwards, and we don't have to take Gus Edwards because Pete has 2 running backs, and I don't think he'll take Gus Edwards from us, John. So we can start if you want. You can do Jahmyr Gibbs and let's actually get some points for this week, or just take it. It's dealer's choice, kind of.
I'm double tapping Rams, so you guys are going to be.
Yeah, he's definitely double tapping. I don't know. Eagles kind of okay.
You can start your Eagles.
I kind of like.
Hurry up if you're going to do it.
You're good. I was thinking like Eagles pair decently with Niners, and Eagles pair well with Baltimore if we think. Yeah. So this is Gus Bus like 100%, I think.
100%. 100%. And now like we are live to, and I like to wait here. I don't force like Odell here. I wait to see how far he can fall. And same with like now, like we should probably chill on Likely because we have this Mark Andrews news out. I like Nelson Aguilar more than Rashad Bateman. He's typically there as like a fifth piece in this Niners Ravens Super Bowl that like we are playing for.
You want to hear my
I
cheeky
would
one?
much prefer a Raven than like Jawan Jennings or Elijah Mitchell on this team personally.
How about Devin Duvernay?
God damn it, man.
When are you going to get in these rooms and give back to the community?
Yeah, let me
John?
know. Give me a date. Give me a time.
Breaking news. Jalen Hurts practices in full, but you know who didn't practice at all? AJ Brown.
Oof. Streets are saying Saturday is where it matters the most. Well, Saturday we're going to be done drafting.
Can we just get like a photo of him just not like in a hospital bed? That would go a long way.
Apparently he's deleted all of his like social posts as well. Like he's going full cryptic.
Jeez.
Feels bad, man. Feels very, very bad. So, John, we got to kind of think like what we're doing to help get this team advancing. And on the AFC side, if you want to tack on any AFC players, the fun spots, it kind of sucks because with Browns and Texans, I believe they would end up playing the Ravens. God forbid the Steelers win. Or
I think
the Dolphins win maybe, and because Bills are going to win. So
I got a plan here, dude.
All right. I love when you say
so
that.
ominous.
I love when you say that.
Are you hiding your cue right now? Are you cooking something up over there?
Yeah, I'm cooking.
I'm looking at the Underdog news feed. We've
got
got
my God. What? Why are we going one-off Eagles over here after that guy takes two?
Is this your first playoff draft? I mean, you're experiencing.
I love it. It's so cute. It's been a while since I've seen some real tilt. There goes Montgomery. John, do you want to play Eagle or Dolphins, or do you want to go like because the Nico stuff? I guess. I mean, they're.
Why are we trying to take another AFC team? I was looking for an
We just
NFC
need to get
team.
through. We need to advance.
Okay, if we need to advance, Mike Evans getting us through.
Oh,
fine.
I had my autopilot set from when I was just like, I'll speed up this this Rams double stack, and I had set my queue, but I was not going to take these two guys here.
Oh.
Let's take Justice Hill.
Little streamer equity for you.
Or
that's our fifth.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel.
That's our fourth.
It's our fifth.
Dude, what are we doing here? Fuck. God damn it, Nez. This is why we gotta talk.
Bro, I said build Dolphins.
Yeah, well, that was out the window.
Why?
I don't want to build Dolphins. I was out on Dolphins. I wanted to scroll.
Okay.
Fuck. Yeah, well, I wanted to take.
We got the run back
Eagles,
to advance,
and then I wanted to take Bucks, and then we cratered.
When you went Evans, you could have immediately just went to like Godwin or Rashad White.
That's what I was going to do, but then I wanted clarification, and then the clock ran out.
On what?
On if we should do that or not. I don't do this.
Jesus took the will, man. I don't know what happened there. I will say we could still get through if Eagles and Bucks shoot out. Hey, maybe DeAndre Swift has a hand in that. We advance through.
This team sucks. This is why these things. This is why these things are so addictive, and why people keep coming back to the well on these games. Is because they realize every time they draft that they could have done it better, and then you jump in another lobby.
This is like someone experiencing the tilt again for the first time, and Nez and I just battle-tested veterans who don't blink when the one-off picks go in front of us.
I think it's definitely the most like if you get your reps up sport or like contest, that if you get your reps up, you have the most distinct advantage.
For sure.
Yeah. Like even
definitely
more so than like,
Yeah, it's not a hard game to learn, but the learning curve is still like kind of steep, like because once the bracket comes into play, makes a big difference.
Okay, so this is Godwin, right?
I'd say we just play Baker doubles here. Like the Swift pick is an oopsie daisy, but guess what? He's finding the end zone, and Jalen Hurts is not tush pushing his way, pushing a team in through the first rounds. So
okay, so this pick right here is
oh, my bad, Neil.
This pick right now is Mark Andrews and then Baker.
I'm with it. I'm with it. I mean, I would.
Oh,
well, actually, no. We already have 5.
We got 5 for the Super Bowl. No, we don't. We got 3. We got 3 Baltimore because we didn't take Hill.
Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. Cool. Now we're live
First
for the
playoff
Ravens Niners Super Bowl.
Okay, so we got Raiders.
I thought you were a man of the people who played on the side of the people, John. Are you just too much of a pucks guy right now, hoops guy? Just too much going on to get in these playoff streets with us?
Yeah, I'm a daily guy. I like doing I cap myself at like, how many drafts can I do in the last hour before a lock on hoops and battle royale? I give myself an allotted time.
I have not built out one of these Rams onslaught teams, I don't believe, but I'm going to end up rolling Stafford, Kyren, Puka, Cup, and I will take Demarcus Robinson unless someone wants to meme snipe me on that. And then just play. So 5 from Rams. I am playing the one-off CeeDee Lamb. So I'll play like Rams, Cowboys, conference championship, and then 2 Bills and 2 Dolphins. So play the Dolphins over the Chiefs, head to Baltimore, and then I got James Cook and Khalil Shakur, and then Achane and Waddle. And
that's pretty sick.
The Achane slide in this one to 48. I mean, he was not part of my initial plans, but then both him and Waddle being there together felt pretty good.
And you would never put 4 running backs, right? Like you would never take Mostert.
If Mostert like fell, like say he was in the 10th round, this would definitely be a spot where I would just break rules.
Yeah, because you don't have any bye week players at all. So like you can afford to take like that luxury bench spot.
Yeah.
To try to come through with a crazy Super Bowl roster. Watch Baker go. I would lose my shit.
It's crazy to watch.
I think
Mostert
you're good in this room.
It's crazy to watch Mostert go ahead in like this contest comparative to like the BR and stuff this week, because like Mostert's legit limited right now.
What's Mostert's ADP? How far behind Achane in BR?
I think they're like 6 spots apart right now. So or like 6 positional spots apart. Like Mostert goes undrafted a good amount.
Yeah.
Okay, Baker to land this plane.
Have to.
God. There's nothing better than you got Lamar Jackson on bye. Let's just plug in these 8 points from Baker Mayfield with broken ribs. That'll get us through.
But John, look at this team. Go back to that team, give that a refresh, and check out this team. We are live for like 5 different Ravens Super Bowls. Like, yeah.
So did you guys end up with just 4 for Niners Ravens?
Uh-huh. Well, no, we have 5 for Niners Ravens, I believe.
Oh, yeah, because you took Andrews. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But we have 4 Ravens.
Yep.
So 4 Ravens plus, if it's Ravens Bucks, bang. If it's Ravens Lions, bang. Ravens Eagles, bang. We're so live. We're live as hell, baby.
Man, I'm surprised more people don't build the 5 onslaught like what Pete did. Like
I've done it a lot back already. I have plenty of bags with Lions and Ravens onslaughts.
So hang on, I missed it because I was like fucking autoing Khalil Shakur and Matthew Stafford earlier than I planned to. But why the Swift pick after Evans?
Because I panicked and I didn't have confirmation, and then whoever at the top was worse, and then it was an auto pick as well. It was an auto pick while
we were all
learning.
In peak streamer form.
Yeah.
Me leaving autopilot on, you guys running Swift against Evans in round 1.
Yeah, it was awful. It ruined 2 teams. It ruined Top Staff NFT's team, Fenway's team. It ruined Fenway's team because he would have taken him right there instead of Mostert. And then we should have taken white right there, and then we would have been fine. But
what's your username? Which one is Kalani?
Is this Fenway? I think Kalani's Fenway. He was talking about trying to get CMC at 4, I believe.
Okay, gotcha.
Welcome, John. Welcome to the streets. I'm glad you're here.
We tried our best.
No, he's top stat. Because I was going to say, Fenway took 3 quarterbacks, which I didn't want to have to.
Oopsie. We don't want to. Don't want to get the sauce out tonight.
Yeah. John, are you going to be pilled? Are you going to rip some of these tonight?
I think I'll get a couple more in this evening for sure in the 2-1, but I'll just do, knowing that I'm only going to play low volume and I'm not going to hit those GMs that other people are going to do. I'm just going to be punting or not. And I'm either Super Bowl or bust. I'm doing something insane. I'll take Browns at the front end, and then I'll take Packers and whoever at the back end. And then I'll do the same thing with Texans. So I'll take one ambiguous matchup that's starting in this week with no bye teams, and then I'll play them in combos I think nobody else is playing that have outliers of 3% matching up in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I do think, the teams that are, I just did it with the Rams. I think the Rams, the Browns, and the Lions are fun ones to do, to just rip 5 from, because you can get out in front of it. You don't have to worry about any snipes. If you want to start with Amon-Ra at the 1-2 turn, you're gonna be fine to get all of your guys. And then with the Rams, you can start it at the 2. With the Browns, you can start it in the what? Where's Amari going? 5th round, 4th, 5th round is
4th. And he was 4th in the first draft, and then he was. I miss him.
Yeah.
Where is he? There he is, 5th in this one.
Yep.
I think, John, you're kind of talking about ways of flipping the board at the 101. I think if you were going to do that and doing it in a way, I think that makes some of the most sense. It'd be flipping the board and taking Mahomes 101 and then trying to push and then trying to get Pacheco and Rice, and then just getting yourself in a unique position that way makes sense. So maybe sample that a little bit.
So I think that's a great point, Nez, because what normally happens, right, is someone feels comfortable without Mahomes, generally a Niner guy at the 1-2 turn who comes back around and double taps whatever 2 Chiefs are left. But if you did an experiment of daring someone to take the one-off Chief, then I think it gets a little interesting. Okay, take Rashee Rice, and then your next Chief is going to be Justin Watson. Have fun with that. Daring them to do that and then seeing if you can get him to push all the way back around.
Yeah, you just have to hope nobody takes naked Rice on you, right? Because you would just take Kelsey at the front, and then, Kelsey and Pacheco, and then hope that Rice comes all the way back to the 4.
Yeah, and if you were in the right room for it, you probably, make sure you're all badged up there. You might be able to pull that off.
Where it works better, though, than the 1 would be the 3. Because you're in the middle of the board, so you'd have less to, go to add the piece. Whereas, Mahomes, you don't have to take at 1 to get him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
True.
So if you build it from 103, I think that might be the sharpest spot.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I like that.
I want to try that.
Get in here, man.
Yeah.
Still got 50%. We're still halfway there to fill in this bad boy.
Yeah.
I'm doing my part. Trying to keep Neumy off the chow line.
Shall we hit the wrap it up box, or shall we try and build out this Chiefs one?
I say we either build one more pick'em or wrap it up.
Okay. What do you have anything that's piqued your interest in the pick'em streets since half an hour?
No, I just have fun building pick'ems with you guys, and I'm always down to go back to the lab.
Let me check out these extra point projections.
You know what we did?
Now we're on brand. We're on brand.
You know what we did? We grabbed the Goddard and the Devontae there It seems like AJ Brown's not going to play at this point. Like, is there any other kind of stuff where the lines aren't fully accounting for that yet? Do we think with Eagles pass catchers?
We're taking the long
maybe.
way.
They pulled them.
I got a couple in my mind here.
They pulled the yardage stuff, but leaving the AJ Brown.
Hurts 218. Oh my god,
dude, this is actually not that bad.
And just take a push if he doesn't play.
Right. Well, it's just
there's no swaps in these pick'ems, John.
Well, just like the thought process being like, oh, it's a playoff game. He's already committed to like traveling with the team. If he gets there, he doesn't practice all week, and then it's like he gives it the T. Higgins go and like plays 2 snaps. I don't know. I think crazier things have happened than taking that. And then, like, what's the worst outcome? He pushes.
Yeah. But the thing is like the way it worked, like when you swap from AJ Brown to Devontae Smith, you're like actually gaining something. Whereas here, when you go from a 5 to a 4 pick'em, you're now on a pretty bad multiplier relative to what you're having to get right.
Yeah, absolutely.
We did find an extra point that we like. And best of all, it's spicy.
Which one's this?
Anders Carlson.
Talk to me.
3 touchdowns for the Packers. Who says no?
A lot of people.
Dallas.
Come, I'll get Copper Prices on here, and him and I will just we'll build the $100 10K shipper with Anders Carlson being the
let's build out a game stack for that one. Let's just play that one as just a total bonanza. 60 plus points are scored. We can start with Anders Carlson in this new reality that we've concocted.
To be honest, if we're gonna do this and play it as like a near 20x or whatever, I think I'd probably rather take the kicking. I guess
not going to kick a field goal because they're only hitting the end zone.
I guess. Okay. Okay, so this is going to be the Jaden Reed one again, right?
Yeah, dude. But I don't think they'll let us do Jordan Love passing TDs because
I do think that they don't like don't like the.
Do we have a fantasy points for Jordan Reed or Jordan Love? Jordan Reed.
No.
You just took me back.
Mashing up Jordan Love and Jaden Reed to create one of the greatest tight ends of my young generation.
No fantasy points yet there. Are there any, like, I don't know, I haven't seen fantasy points for like many
just
players.
Honestly, just throw Christian Watson spice in there, right? Like if the Packers are scoring 3 times and Christian Watson is active.
Will that one sound the alarms? Because it's extra points and touchdowns.
Oh, you're right. They're not going to let us do anything with touchdowns.
Okay. I mean, we don't have to do Anders.
No, Anders is clearly the bedrock.
I like Anders more than Watson, but
yeah. We're Anders is going nowhere. Everyone relax. Anders isn't getting swapped out of this.
Everyone's freaking out.
The kicker whisperer plants his flag. Put in the Cooks one, right? That was the other one. Mr. Hand in the Dirt, Homer Cheesehead in the chat liked.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll go Cooks to make this an absolute shootout.
Okay. Receiving yards? Receiving yards feels good.
Yeah.
Anything? Do you want to do?
You do Aaron Jones.
Anything for Dak?
What do we have with? Yeah. What were the Dak stuff? Did we look at what his numbers were?
He has a 21.15 fantasy points, and I think if this game is shooting out, it's Dak fantasy points high.
Dude, if Anders is just drilling XPs, Dak is hitting on the comeback.
Let's go.
How we went from like, let's correlate the Green Bay side with extra points because they're scoring a lot, and now we're like, no, we've already banked those points because we've already scored all these touchdowns. Now let's run it back.
Actually is like, I love the correlation between Anders' extra points and Dak fantasy points. I can't get enough of it.
Yeah, hit us with the Dak higher
on FP. The fantasy points.
Yep.
Okay. Well, then I would suggest adding in Aaron Jones here. Then.
Yep.
because that's how you're scoring on the other side. Then
It's the AC AJ 1-2 punch
can you
that's
do
getting Dak.
touchdowns with it?
Can't do
They're not gonna
touchdowns
let
with the
us.
extra points.
They're not going to let it. What's his combined yards at?
97 and a half.
Yeah, let's take the combined out. Even though he's been on an absolute heater rushing yards, I kind of want some receiving yards outage here.
I agree.
You guys like that number?
I mean, we're already living in a reality where Andres Carlson just like lives.
All this did was take us to like an old school regular 5.
Dude, wait, no, we're at a 21.5. Did we get a negative correlation boost in here?
Yeah, with Dak and Cooks, I think.
Wait, no, those are positively correlated. Where's the negative correlation? Just no, it's the 1.25 on Andrus. Sorry, I thought that was straight.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
You know what's funny? You think that Anders pick is so good, you didn't even realize it was a spice.
I was looking at my screen here. I wasn't playing along at home.
Love it. This is how we send it off.
All right. I like it. This contains a scorcher. Oh, yeah. I'm readily aware, my friends.
Yeah.
John, I will say, if you want to swap out Anders, which I never would, and put in a settlement lower, I think that you probably aren't as maxed out as I am on that front.
That's good. We didn't put in the free square just yet. Oh. All right. There you guys go. In the chat, in the private chat. Get to drafting. If you're the best weekend.
If you're feeling FOMO on the settlement stuff, you can buy some of my Jack equity. I still have $100 available if you want in on that.
There's a second
1.5 on the dollar. You can have
1.5x markup. Dude, I still might be getting a deal.
Settlement bucks are going through the roof. It's a limited supply and circulation. Everybody's selling their settlement equity.
They're like Skolansky bucks all over again.
I did see that. I don't know if there was a clip from the Gill show roasting Jack, but he just came back with some comment about him choking in college or something. So Jack's getting fired up.
That's great, man. I loved Gilbert Arenas when I was a kid. That was my guy. Him and AI, those were good. Those were like, when you played hoopsta in the driveway, those were the guys you're emulating.
All right, I need to go see my small child.
All right, let's hit the wrap it up. Let's do this. Oh, I forgot I was in control of that sort of thing. All
right. Yeah, if you guys jumped on here late, we did do a full BR strategy show over on my channel there. If you want to get in the daily streets, let people know what else is coming. I saw some people asking about hoops stuff. Are you guys done for the week here on content on the channel?
Yeah. Next hoops stuff will be Monday. Probably we might hit that along with a little preview on Monday. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays on here, we do the members only morning show for hoops where we just take a look at the slate, build some ranks. So got to be a member. Badges at the door for that one on Tuesday and Thursday mornings for hoops. But we'll be chatting hoops in the hoops thread. If you're not in the Discord, hop in there.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
And then we'll be I was just going to say we might have a little birdie suggested there might be something next week that might shift our schedule a little bit, that we might have a Tuesday show as well this week, Nez.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'll be all
ears. Ears to the street.
There you go. All right, guys, everyone enjoy wild card weekend. Get in there, get in those BR streets. I got one more fullback dive to do here before that fills, if you're trying to get in those streets. But yeah, hope you guys all take some stuff down, and I don't know, at least 20% of your teams advance to round 2 of these playoff contests. For Nez, for John, for Neumy, who couldn't make it for the second leg of the show, I'm Pete. We'll see you guys next time on Off and On the Clock.
Go Steelers!
Oh shit, I was supposed to press the button.